It's going to expand to 12 teams. The playoff will expand. We know that. There's no way around this. If you want the playoff to expand, you got your wish. If you don't care how many teams there are, you got your wish. If you wanted 8 teams, sorry, they're going to 12. If you didn't want expansion, what do you want us to do? There's nothing we can do right now. You see, we knew there was going to be expansion at some point in the playoff. We didn't know if it would be 50 years, 20 years, whatever down the road. But at the very least, from what we have heard and everything, there's been some recent news that's actually come out about this. This is why we're talking about it, right? Y'all remember the 12-team proposal. It's coming around 2026 or 27, whatever, here in a few years, right? So here's the thing. There was a tweet put out on Twitter, obviously. Nicole Araback of The Athletic put out a tweet. I'll throw this up here. The vote on CFP expansion, which needed to be 11-0 in order to change the format, 11-0 being the voting, of course, in order to change the format prior to 2026, was indeed an 8-3 vote last month. She put this out today around, of course, I'm in Central Time, so I guess it would have been about 5:45 Eastern. So the vote on CFP expansion, which needed to be 11-0 in order to change the format prior to 2026, was indeed an 8-3 vote last month, a source told The Athletic. ACC, Big Ten, Pac-12 voted against it, basically voted against the CFP expansion. The CFP board chairman, Mark Keenum, confirmed this to SI, Sports Illustrated Now, today. So, thank you, Nicole Araback, for putting that out. Basically, what that's saying, and again, I'll show this here. Basically, it needed to be 11-0. Like, there had to be no's. They had to be all 11 people saying yes, apparently, which I think is stupid. I think even in an 8-3 vote, it's still 8-3. 3 people said no out of 11 people. The majority said yes, right? It was 8-3 last month. There's still some changes in this, right? Like, there was already a plan in place. You were going to have 12 teams. You were going to take the 5 conference champions. Then you would probably take, a group of 5 champion, like a Cincinnati like we had this past year, which they did kind of give Bama a game. So, I mean, that wasn't much of a blowout. I mean, yeah, it was 21 points, but I mean, I think it was Cincinnati gave us a game, right? They didn't just go in there and like any other team get their butts handed to them. It wasn't like that. But here's what you have. Currently, we have the 4-team system, obviously, as we know. I like the 4-team playoff. I'm not against it. If they never expand the playoff, I'm fully okay with that. If they do expand it, they better at least have a good system and do it right. You know what I mean? It's like you got to have a good setup. You got to have a good plan in play, in pace, whatever term you want to use. And the plan was, what was it? The 5 Power 5 champs, right? And then some at-large teams, and you get like a group of 5 champion. You might get a 1. I think that would definitely give Notre Dame an edge. Because think about it. Now, Notre Dame only got in as a 1-loss team because they were in a conference and they lost to Clemson, a conference champion. Okay. If Notre Dame takes a loss in the regular season now, being an independent team, they don't get in the 4-team playoff. That's just how it is. I'm not saying they don't deserve it, but they don't have a championship to back up the loss that they had to whoever. I don't care if it's Clemson, Georgia, Cincinnati, Bama. If they take a loss, they take a loss. They're basically do or die right now because they're an independent team that doesn't have a conference championship, right? So you have the SEC champion count it an automatic bid. I'm not saying that out of bias for the SEC, but I mean, Georgia, Bama, whatever, right? Those are where the best teams are right now, Georgia and Alabama. And then, I mean, we'll see what Brian Kelly does now at LSU. And, A&M with Jimbo should have a good year. You get the Pac-12. It's been a couple years, but they've gotten in once or twice before. The Big Ten. You had Michigan last year, and then you've had Ohio State get in 3 or 4 different times. The Big 12 is always Oklahoma, right? You're going to get the Power 5 champions. 9 times out of 10. Right? I'm not even. I want to share how I would do the playoff, but I've shared it so many times. I think for a guarantee, like if it's a 2-loss Pac-12 champion, and we're talking expansion, and we're having this 12-team playoff, I say put a 2-loss champion in. They might have 2 losses. So what? They won their conference. 2 losses. Some teams can hardly finish with a 10-win season. Some teams it's hard to do. Some teams have been working at that for a long time. You got a team like Oregon goes 10-2, 11-2 with a conference championship. You're going to leave that out of a 12-team playoff? You got to be kidding me. Overall, there's a lot of change going on in college football expansion, right? There was a plan set in place that we're going to have 12 teams. This is going to start in like the 25, 26, somewhere in a couple years, 3 or 4 years down the road. This is what's going to happen. That's the 12-team proposal, right? Now, today, Nicole Auerbach puts that tweet out, right? Which shout out to her. She's not making any. She's a reporter. She kind of puts this out. What she hears, she's like an insider, and she does a heck of a job. Appreciate her putting stuff out like that. Heather Dinich as well out there. Mom gets these great people on his show all the time, and they got some good insight. But she puts that tweet out quoting Mark Keenum on the CFP board of directors. He's a chairman, right? Y'all saw the tweet. The vote on CFP expansion, which needed to be 11-0. Basically, you could not have someone say no. It was 8-3 last month. 3 people said no to it, right? That's it. It needed to be 11-0 to change the current format before 2026. We're talking 4 years down the road. So there's still some continuing change. I just kind of put that title there, but it's still kind of like, it's still kind of evolving. Maybe this 12-team format isn't what's going to happen. I'm not, now maybe you're sitting there saying you're crazy. It's going to be 12 teams. They already decided that. I know. But there's still proposals out there. There's still a lot going on. There's still a lot happening. And we just don't know what to do, right? Like, what do you do? I mean, seriously. 11, because one player said no. One player says, "No, we're good. It's okay. We're not going to do it. We're not going to expand on it." And you're like, you got to be kidding me. I mean, seriously. The question becomes, what's next? 5 through 12, really. I mean, you're going to get one other Power 5 champion. You get a Cincinnati or UCF. And then you get some at-large teams. The at-large teams kind of what will screw this up, in my opinion. Because let me give you a scenario too, and I'll end on this topic with this note. But let's say you get Bama wins the SEC, you get Clemson in the ACC, you get Ohio State from the Big Ten, you get Oklahoma from the Big 12, right? Although I know Oklahoma and Texas are moving to the SEC, but let's stick to where everybody is right now for a second. Okay, that's 4. And the Pac-12, let's say Oregon. That's 5 Power 5 conference champions. Then let's say you get a one-loss Cincinnati. Would you put a group of 5 champion like that? You'd have to give them a chance, right? You would have to, I think. What at-large teams? You take a one-loss Georgia? There's a team. That's 6. Would you put a one-loss Notre Dame that's not in a conference? Would you put an independent one-loss team like that in there? I guess it depends on strength of schedule. Who's their loss to, and do they have any quality wins? Well, let's say they beat teams like Cincinnati. Let's say, hypothetically, they play a team like, give me a Florida. And let's say at the time Florida is ranked 25th and Notre Dame's 18. Well, they beat a top 25 team and they went to the Swamp or something. I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out there. I'm babbling on now, but you get what I'm getting at. Like, what are the teams you're going to put in? I know they want to get the Power 5, but who are the at-large teams? And then, to top it off, I hate to admit it. Believe me, I do. But we all know. And we don't sit there and say like it's a guarantee this will happen, but most likely, if we had to say yes or no to it, we'd probably say yes. If we expand, you get the first 4 teams with buys. But let's say if the 12 seed wins it and they go play even 4, You don't think the higher seeded teams, the higher ranked, just the better teams are going to win and probably win big in blowouts? Like, what are the chances a 12 seed in the 12-team playoff runs the table all the way to a title? 1 in a billion, probably, because that 12th team is probably a Cincinnati. No disrespect to them. It's probably a Tulsa or a UCF or someone. It might be an Oregon. But you're going to have to face the bigger guys in Georgia, Alabama. If Clemson gets back, you got them. You got Ohio State. You got Oklahoma, possibly with Brent Venables. I think he could do some great things there. You got the bigger teams that you're still not on that level. There's still changes in this playoff expansion. I don't know if I want to say it's a given that it's going to be 12 teams, but that's what it seems like. But again, I showed the tweet and everything, right? To vote on CFP expansion, which needs to be 11-0 in order to change the format. Nobody can say no. It was an 8-3 vote last month. The Pac-12, the ACC, and the Big Ten voted against it. Voted against it. Notice those conferences, by the way. The ACC, the Big Ten, and the Pac-12. That means the Big 12 and the SEC, which, by the way, you got Big 12 teams going to the SEC. Go figure that one out. Does the Big 12 want to expand so they can get the other Big 12 teams in there potentially to finally – well, first off, they finally want to win a playoff game. The ACC has nobody outside of Clemson. You look at that. The SEC is like, we could get even 3 SEC teams in this time, baby. We could probably try that. Pac-12 is like, who cares? Nobody's on the same page with this. I'm going to end it on this note for this topic here, folks. But here's my final thoughts on CFP expansion. I'm not against it. I thought it would be a great idea. I think it should be 8 teams. I think it should be the top 8 teams. Because think about this. You get 4 teams. And we're always focusing on the top 10 anyway. If they could at least crack the top 10, that'd be special and amazing. And even the teams 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, they're left out. They still get New Year's 6 balls anyway that rotate for the college football playoff. How do we know that we're making the right decision to put this team in at 4 over who you eventually put at 5 or 6 or whatever? How do we know? Expand to 8 teams. Take the best 8 teams in America that you think are great. Put them head to head. Of course, we got a proposal for a 12-team playoff. I would say that's probably an inevitable situation right there, in my opinion, if you ask me. But I want to hear from you guys in the comments. Let me know what you think about all this, and we'll move on and move forward in the stream tonight. But I think that this playoff expansion, I'm fine with it how it is now. But if it was to expand, I would go to 8 teams. And I think the committee just needs to finally put their foot down and say, this is what we're going to do, when we're going to do it, and be done with it.